Midnight Guthrie here with Michael Strider. And Michael, we know June 2nd, right here at Turner Rec Center in Kansas City, Kansas, will be your final match of an historic wrestling career here in the Central States area, taking on Adam Pearce. What are your thoughts going into this matchup? We just saw you had an incredible match with the Rebel Jeremy Wyatt. You really gave it everything you possibly have. What do you have planned for the fans of Metro Pro Wrestling here in your final match ever after a historic career that's lasted since 1997?
That's right. First of all, let me address Jeremy Wyatt there. Like the man or not like the man, you have to respect the athlete that he is. And 2 months, 3 months ago, whenever it was that Jeremy Wyatt Paul drove me on the apron and sent me away for 2 months, what he did is he gave me a revelation. He did me a favor. What it motivated me to do was become a better athlete. I trained harder. I lost weight. I got in shape. I got my fire and my edge back. And I went at the Central States title like I used to. Now, the Strider from 6 months ago wouldn't have lasted 10 minutes with Jeremy Wyatt. But I went 30, 40 minutes with him, almost had that one.
Just tremendous.
I lost it, and I'm fine with the loss because, it's like any gladiator. You want to go out on your sword. You want to go out in that kind of match. So I don't like Jeremy Wyatt's politics or his personality, but you have to respect the athlete. And I thank him for giving me my edge back. Now, Adam Pearce is a different thing. I've got one more match. One more, man. I've had a lot of matches in a lot of areas. Now, people have been asking me since the last show, Adam Pearce has lost his world heavyweight title.
Yes.
They want to know if it affects me. That was supposed to be my one last shot at the match. Well, there's a couple things about that you might not realize, Midnight. Number one, I've been beating Colt Cabana up for damn near 10 years now, kind of all over the Midwest. So beating him again is nothing that's going to be really satisfying. It's not going to be that cherry on top. Adam Pearce, you represent a lot of things to me. Now, a lot of people don't know because they may not have followed me throughout the years, but my career is all about, seeing the sunny side of things. Way back when I was early on in my career, I would go down to Florida to these camps with Dory Funk Jr. that would have all of these scouts from then the WCW, then the WWF, and then ECW, and also Puerto Rico. So I was there for one camp. I had Johnny Ace, who was a guy there at the time working for WCW, and Jim Ross came down for WWF. At the time, the Strider spiral move that you see now was not something that was as mainstream. There's a lot of neck breakers out there in the world, but the way that I set it up and executed was different. So Coach Dory Funk pulls me aside before we have our matches and says, listen, Johnny Ace is the booker for WCW, and if you don't want to see that move on Monday night, don't do it. Now, I'm young, hot shot. Okay, coach, I won't do it, but I want to impress. Did the move. Johnny Ace comes up to me afterwards and says, great job, kid. Really like that move and stuff like that. And guess what I saw on Monday Nitro? My move. But that's okay because that's the sunny side of things. My move was on wrestling TV, primetime TV there. That's okay. Jim Ross, that same time, came up to me and was like, kid, you got a lot of heart. You're a good worker. You look like you can wrestle anybody, but put on a few more pounds for me if you know what I mean. So, wasn't going to do that, but I went to the gym and I worked real hard. And then years later, I get a nice little look from TNA. Years later. Working in, they're flying me to spot shows in Chicago. They're flying me down to Orlando for stuff. I'm working with Terry Taylor as my agent. It gets to a point where I call my mom and dad and I say, listen, all the years of hard work and suffering are over. I'm going to have a FedEx contract to me in a couple days because Mr. Taylor told me that there's a big bundle of money that they're going to use for new talent. They're tired of taking from WCW and they want their own faces, and I was going to be one of those faces. So one day turned to two. 2 days turned to 3. I didn't hear anything. So I called Terry. I'm like, Taylor, what's going on with the contract? Are we getting ready to go on that? And he says, well, kid, I've got good news and I've got bad news, which in wrestling, you know what that means.
It's bad news.
It's bad news. Number one, he says, Kurt Angle just got fired from the WWE. Fantastic. Kurt Angle, is a great superstar. He'll add a lot of exposure. So Well, Kurt Angle got fired from WWE and we signed him. Fantastic. That's the good news. The bad news is all that money we had allocated for new stars is going to Kurt Angle. So pretty much out of luck. Sorry, edit that. We'll keep you in touch. So one guy could be really mad about that, but you know what happened is I met my wife 2 months later, and I'm happier for it. I don't want to be on the road. I want to be with her. So Adam Pearce, the fact that you don't have the NWA World title just signifies kind of the circle of my career. I was almost there 100 different times, and I never quite got it for whatever circumstances, but never once has that deterred me from being the best that I can be. So one more time on June 2nd, in the town that I call home, Kansas City, in front of my fans, in front of people who have watched me wrestle for 10 years or 2 months, you and me are going to go to war. And I'm going to make you pay for Jim Ross, for Johnny Ace, for Kurt Angle, for TNA. I'm going to make you pay for all the fans that would come up to me and say, Strider, you know what? Why aren't you there yet? Why aren't you big time? Well, you know what? I always felt I was big time. I always felt that I was the guy that people wanted to see. I was always concerned with giving everybody the best match, whether it was 10 or whether it was 2,000. And if there's one person there or there's 2,000 people there, Adam Pearce, one more time, we're going to give him a Michael Strider moment.
There you have it, wrestling fans. Right here, Turner Rec Center, June 2nd. Michael Strider has his final match, his final fight of his career. And come find out why he's a legend in this area one final time.